It's now my pleasure to introduce your commencement speaker, someone who sat in such an event at Louisiana Tech in 1980. Jared Brough is an international expert, coach, trainer, author, and speaker, and a widely regarded expert in crisis communications and media issues. Jared earned a BA in journalism from Louisiana Tech in 1980. Prior to graduating, he began his journalism career at the Shreveport Times. And then upon graduation, he moved to Shreveport, where he was a reporter, a weathercaster, and a news anchor for KSLA TV. Years later, he also worked as a Capitol correspondent at WAFB in Baton Rouge and as the environmental reporter at WDSU in New Orleans. During his career, he also provided reports for NBC, CBS, CNN, and the Weather Channel. Today, Jared is the CEO of Brough Communications, a public relations firm that specializes in crisis communications. Organizations on 5 continents rely on Jared to train their spokespeople and executives to communicate effectively during a crisis. And his clients range from Fortune 500 companies to major government agencies to small and medium businesses. Following the events of September the 11th, he was commissioned to write the Crisis Communication Plan for the Internal Revenue Service and its 800 offices across America. And his plans are used by the Library of Congress, the U.S. Army Missile Defense Command, numerous city, state, and county governments, and numerous international corporations. Jared has a gift for foreseeing and predicting crises before they happen. 15 years before Hurricane Katrina, he predicted the catastrophic destruction that would befall New Orleans through a series of award-winning reports called When the Big One Hits. And for 2 years prior to the Virginia Tech shooting of 2007, Jared warned that crisis communications plans at most universities were insufficient and would fail when they're needed most. Jared was born in New Orleans and lives in Mandeville, Louisiana with his wife, Cindy, whom he met at Louisiana Tech in 1977. And they have 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Gabrielle. So please join me in welcoming your commencement speaker, Mr. Jared Brough.
To begin today, we need to give credit where credit is due. You guys are all here because somebody cared about you. Somebody helped you along the way. It's your parents. It's the faculty. And as you're coming in here, we can see that they're all constantly trying to get your attention, to get a picture of you, to make sure you know where they're sitting. So we're going to break decorum for just a little minute. On the count of 3, I want you to be able to turn around, find that special someone, wave to them, and on the count of 3, we're going to, as loudly as you can, graduates, say thank you. Clear instructions? Stand up, find them. 1, 2, 3. Good, Mom, you got the picture. Graduates, take a seat. Actually stand, because I know you're all waiting to take a selfie. So let's get the selfie out the way on 3. You can put your back to me if you want. Selfie time. 1, 2, 3. Good. Let's move on. Have a seat, please, graduates. Ladies, I want you, when you look at that selfie, by the way, if you're going to send it out, hashtag it, We Are La Tech. Grandparents, a hashtag is something they'll explain to you later. Now to the work on hand. Transitioning you from your seats there to your place up here on stage, and then transitioning you to your place in life. You guys have been labeled the millennials, the generation of the new millennium. I'm going to give you a slightly different title today. I'm going to call you the MM generation, for the mobile millennial generation. Because when we think about it, you guys have been on a mobile device for 50% of your life. 50% of your life. Your mother said you shouldn't have a cell phone at 10, but your dad gave you one anyway, or vice versa. So for half your life, you've been mobile, you've been wired to a variety of apps. And for all the promise that is granted to you by your mobility and your mobile devices, your ability to share happiness, there's also the evil side of social media. There are the online haters who are going to use Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and Snapchat to just take away happiness, to take away smiles. It always dismays me when I see an online hater who is either going to say something mean for no reason at all or to use the option to simply remain silent. So I decided, let's restore our faith in social media today. I decided it would be fun to crowdsource for you, the mobile millennials, to crowdsource today's commencement address. For 30 days, I've been on social media. Dr. Geis has been tweeting out as well. And we have asked experts all around the world to give you each one piece of advice. So I'm going to share with you the advice from learned individuals around the world, authors, celebrities, news people, as well as ordinary people who just saw our tweets out in social media and decided to give you some advice. So here are some of the observations that are shared for you from social media. CNN anchor Brooke Baldwin says, always check your ego at the door. Public relations expert Gerard Kober says, it's not about you. It's about the effect that you have on society and the greater good that you can achieve. Georgia Tech Assistant Athletic Director Chris Yandel says, every day for you is a job interview because you never know who's watching you. Damon Gross, a communications executive at Arizona Public Service, says, ready? Be independent of your parents as soon as possible. He says the struggle will do you good. I agree with that. I left here, went to Shreveport. I was making $650 a month. I used to have a month left over at the end of the paycheck. 4 days before payday, I found $20 on the street, and I knew there was a God. The struggle got me where I am today. My first boss, photographer extraordinaire Tom Morris, echoes those sentiments, and he says, you are all about to learn how really smart your parents have been for the past 21 years. Your own president, Les Geis, says, have a plan for where you're headed. Pursue what you love and pursue it with passion, but be prepared for change. Here's one I love. Sarah Kosian Alzamore. She's a corporate executive and mother of a special needs child. And she says your life may turn out differently than you planned, but that doesn't mean you aren't right where you're supposed to be. Michelle Norris, a radio host with National Public Radio, says she thinks you should plan your future in pencil. Lynn Smith, a news anchor at HLN, Headline News Network, said, you're not going to be CEO next year. Enjoy paying your dues on the way up, and be humble on the way up, and to be as humble on your way up as you might be on your way down. Leadership expert Philip Van Hooser says, strive to become so good at something that it will be impossible for you to be overlooked or ignored. Communications consultant Nancy Painter says to you, look for how you can help others instead of how they can help you. She says, when you give, it comes back to you tenfold. Security expert Jordan Frankel says, no dream is too big and no dream is unattainable. NBC News and Today Show host Savannah Guthrie says she wants you to be willing, as in be willing to say yes. Be willing to try things that you didn't think you could do. Best-selling author, Joe Calloway. For those of you in business, make sure you read A Category of One by Joe Calloway. Joe says the quality of the work you do today, no matter what the job, will determine your path in the future. He says go all in. Chris Rossetti says no job is too small for you to be excellent at it, and that you should do everything with a sense of ownership. Self-proclaimed marketing nerd Reed Stone says, you may not make six figures right out the gate, but whatever job and role you land, no matter how menial, go above and beyond in everything that you do. British journalist and TV personality Piers Morgan says, work hard and play hard. Marketing manager Laurel Walter says this wisdom came to her from her dad, who said, find a job that you love, and don't worry about how much money you get paid for it. He told her that if you enjoy your job and if you enjoy going to work every day, you will be much happier than if you're at a job you hate that pays a lot of money. And what I love about that is that's the same thing my wife, Cindy, and I told to both of our daughters when they graduated. Producer and filmmaker Gary Hackett says he thinks you should have a lot of coffee meetings with people who are already where you want to be 10 years from now. He says you'll learn some amazing secrets from them. Communications professor Cindy Schmid, as she thinks you should each get involved in a professional organization in your field, because there you will find great mentors who will help you in your path in life. Airline pilot Brian Bro, brother of yours truly, says he thinks you should always be willing to give something back to your community. Join a social organization. He's in the Lions Club. Many of you can join organizations at your churches. Sales coach Lois Kramer says, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Let me say that one again. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn and you get stronger. One of my former classmates, who's a personal trainer, Lisa Oglesby Sudbury, says, don't listen to anyone who tells you what you can't do. Production manager Bill Koski, another one of my friends from freshman year here at Tech, says, life is unfair, so be ready to roll with the punches and change. Dr. Mike Trupo says, trust in your instincts. Stay true to yourself, and don't be afraid to ask for help. He says, help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help, he says, is a sign of strength. And he says people innately want to help you, so don't be afraid to ask for it. Super mom and super volunteer Deborah Terabeel Stewart says, follow your dreams. Have faith in yourself and have faith in your God, and never give up. Radio host Paul Ladd says, believe in yourself and don't put any faith in the naysayers. Hamilton Mixon, who's a global security expert, says, trust your gut. Your gut is seldom wrong. And I can tell you that is so true. Four more. On the slightly humorous side, global business consultant Robert Bradford says, get a prenup. Robert's been through some things I haven't. Comedian and the world's only professional summarizer, Mr. Dale Irvin, a great friend of mine, says, buy lottery tickets and cozy up to rich relatives. So you got that to fall back on. It's Saturday. There's a drawing tonight. Entrepreneur Vic Burgoyne says, stay, really, just stay where you are at Tech. Retired naval officer Ned Lundquist says, recognize that you may never look better than you look today. And when you look back at those selfies a few years from now, I want you to remember, while you may not remember anything else I said today, I want you to remember to look at your hair, your shoes, and your waistline. Those are the three things that are most likely to change. Now, my own personal advice to you would be this. Find happiness. Be happy. Spread happiness. 3 simple things. Be happy, find happiness, spread happiness. That's not deep thinking, but that's deep in my heart. I think a smile is one of the most powerful tools that you have at your disposal. There are some parallels to being a mobile millennial. Like your phones, like your apps, smiles are mobile. You can take them anywhere you want to go. Smiles still work when the power goes out. The more smiles you give away, the more they come back to you. Smiles are absolutely unlimited. And like your phone, occasionally you need to recharge your own smiles, and you need to recharge the smiles of friends. Don't be caught up looking down at your mobile device so much that you fail to look up and see the beauty of life, and that someone is smiling at you, and that you can smile back at them. Each of us is given an unlimited number of smiles that we can give away, and when we give them away, they come back to us freely. I want everybody in this auditorium to back me up on a quick experiment. You ready? Turn to the person on your left and smile. Turn to the person on your right and smile. Everyone. Chances are they smiled right back at you. In a nanosecond, we created approximately 6,000 to 12,000 smiles. That's how easy that task is to do. Now, for those of you who have degrees in science, where are my science and analytical types? Where are you? Yep. For those of you who are analytical and thinking this is fluff, decided to check on research. Researchers tell us that smiles release neuropeptides, which then release stress. For those of you in liberal arts, neuropeptides are the tiny molecules that allow neurons to communicate. That will not be on the test. In fact, the best part is you don't have any more tests. I remember graduation day thinking, no more tests. They're so wonderful. Now, from the time you wake up every day until the time you go to sleep, it's your decision. Do you live in agony? Do you live in frustration? Do you live in happiness? This is on you. It's not on me. It's not on your parents. It's not on your employer. This is all on you. When you're driving to work and somebody cuts you off in traffic, it's your decision. Do you let them frustrate you? Do you smile at them and motion with 5 fingers? You're getting ahead of me. Or do you scream at them and motion with just 1 finger? It's your choice to smile and say, come on in. Don't be the person who takes away someone else's smile in life. Don't be the person who judge. Just avoid the judgment and the hatred that happens, especially in social media. Now, there are going to be hard times in your life. You're going to suffer the passing and the death of parents and grandparents. Illness will strike in your family. You might lose the dream job. But your job is to look for the next moment of happiness. And I'll tell you why smiles are so important to me. It goes back to a very personal moment in time, and it was right after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. Some of you were there. It was a desperate time. The city was gray, and everybody was lost, and there were no smiles to be found anywhere. And a handful of us got together with a crazy idea that was widely rejected. We asked, can we have Mardi Gras? Can we parade through the destroyed city? And all of the serious people in life said, no, there's no time for that. We have to rebuild with brick and mortar. But there were a group of us who said, no, we also need to rebuild the heart, the soul, and the spirit of a hurting community. So I calculated if I buy 5,000 of those Mardi Gras beads and throw them in a parade over 3 hours, I can make 5,000 random people smile. And not only did they smile all day, but they cried. It was the most emotional day I think I've ever had. watching the spin of emotions. But we also realized that there were 150 guys riding with me. By our calculations, we could create 750,000 smiles in 3 hours. That's 250,000 smiles an hour. Yes, math graduates, that is 4,166.66 smiles per minute. You guys were doing that. I could see the calculations going. We had that parade through that city. People smiled, and it marked a turning point that not only could we have the strength to rebuild with brick and mortar, but we felt whole again. We felt normal. So in life, look for those opportunities to create smiles. Now, a few final thoughts. My dream for you is the same as my wife and I shared with our daughters, to say, find a career that makes you happy. Look, I've had a chance after leaving tech to work on 5 continents. I wake up every morning thankful for my degree. I see myself as a writer and a journalist first. The foundation that I got here for tech, I use every day, and it's top of mind. If I win the lottery tonight, or if I cozy up to a rich relative, if I get wealthy tonight, I will still do what I love to do tomorrow, because that is my vocation. And I dream and pray for you that you have that same happiness. My next dream for you is that you find a perfect partner to spend life with. Life is so much richer when you've got someone that you can smile at and turn to every day. I found mine here on September 24th, 1977, at around 2:30 in the afternoon. But who keeps track? My wife, Cindy, who's sitting over there, came out of Nielsen Dormitory, which is now a pile of rubble, thanks. And we were doing, my roommate and I were playing Frisbee, because that's what guys did in 1977. You played Frisbee. And yes, I was wearing jorts. And my life has been happy ever since. I hope you have that same happiness till death do you part. My dream is that you realize that as of today, you are in charge of you. Nobody is the boss of you anymore after you cross this stage, and I'm about to get out of your way so you can do that. We're launching you. I want you to go forth and discover your authentic self. I want you to go forth and discover who you are really meant to be. Go forth and smile. Thank you.